Hello everyone, Krydax here. Welcome back to Colony Survival, where we've got copper tools incoming and copper arrows and archery also incoming, so we can take care of all the hordes of pesky zombies that will want to eat our food and eat our colonists. So, yeah, JJ, I was kind of teasing me streaming Colony Survival for the last week or so, telling people I was going to be playing a secret game. Thought I'd make it a surprise. And yeah, so this is the secret game. But we finally have some copper tool makers going, which is great because they're going to be able to craft more copper tools faster, but we'll need to It's kind of funny because they'll be using these stone tools for a really long time, so we'll wait until we have some copper tools crafted, and then we'll pick up the job block and place it back down so it'll refresh. It's also worth knowing you do delete your tools when you pick up a job block, which generally is not a big deal over the course of time, but it's worth, knowing that that happens. So, tanners are still going strong. I think 5 is plenty. They'll get a lot faster once we have copper tools as well, so that'll help. We still have enough animal carcasses. I will need some gold for some technologies, but I don't need anything right now. I can get started on archery, I guess, because I only need 1 copper tools to do that research. Well, Zatamath, I'm glad you're here. I am, sometime this evening, I'm planning on watching your stream and the Sudoku puzzle, because I'm really excited about that. For those of you that have never heard of Zatamath, or variant Sudoku, he streams Sudokus and also sets Sudokus, which means makes them. But not just your average Sudoku. There are kinds with all sorts of extra rules like killer cages and thermometers and all sorts of other fancy things. The channel Cracking the Cryptic is where I really got into that stuff. Highly recommend it if you're into puzzles. Very fun. I enjoyed a lot. And given the type of things that you guys are into as my viewers, you might be into stuff like that too. So I figured I'd mention it. But Zatamath also streams himself solving puzzles. And Zeta, do you stream yourself setting puzzles as well, or just solving them? I actually don't know the answer to that question. And now I finally am thinking about placing these half blocks so I don't have to jump, which is just oh so convenient. Very nice to not have to jump. See, does that look better like that? I think it looks better like that. Kind of weird. That's like me stepping up a whole block, but it kind of works if you're in the middle. I think this will probably work better in terms of movement. Yeah, I guess setting makes more sense from like an edited perspective, because watching someone set is going to be a different vibe, because you as the setter aren't going to want to sit there for like an hour trying to play with one thing while people are watching. So yeah, I guess you could set like a smaller puzzle or a certain type of puzzle with like a specific goal in mind maybe, but yeah, I guess that would be different. Because setting Sudoku puzzles is not easy. Oh, and I need to remove this so I don't bonk my head on the way in because of the stair blocks. There is a little bit of a lack of like proper like corner stairs and stuff like that. I think the game will add a lot more aesthetic blocks moving forward. I think there's just been a little bit of a lack of those because the game's still in early access and there's only a couple developers. So it's not like they've had a ton of margin to make stuff that isn't gameplay oriented. But I would expect more of that in the future. They've already added quite a few even just in this last version. So I always get scared because I'm like, why are they making meat? That's not their job, but then I remember that's just they're making the skin and raw meat from the animal carcass, so that's what's happening there. We've got Fletchers coming in, which make the arrows and the bows and the bow guard job block. We will need plenty of those. And looks like copper tools are finally at 4. There's a little bit of a funny reason I had to wait until we had 4 copper blocks. We also need the tool bench, actually. I should unlock that. And that one takes forever, but we need a tool shop down here. Anyway, the reason I waited until we had 4 copper tools is because, as you'll find out when I actually place one of the tool shops, the minimum amount of tools before a worker will take one is 4, I think. Maybe it's 3. It's 3 or 4. But that's the threshold. And so if you only have 2 copper tools, they actually won't grab one even if you refresh their job block, because it's that way so you can have the copper tools like back for research. I don't know if it's a totally necessary feature. It'll probably make some players frustrated and confused. Like, why isn't my guy grabbing the copper tools when there are copper tools in the inventory? Like, you can see it won't grab below 3. And then other players will be thankful because they'll just go to do the research that requires copper tools, and it's like, oh, I have those. You know, when in reality, if that system wasn't there, they'd be at 0. So I'm not entirely certain whether I like that feature or not, but it's a little bit of pros and cons together. How are we doing on planks and firewood? Looks like we're doing fine. They've had plenty of time to work on their extracurricular activities into the aesthetic blocks. I also have plenty of copper. I could add more furnaces, and we will need a lot more copper ingots when our main method of defense is copper arrows. So I'm going to preemptively add a couple more furnaces there, so we got the full 8. And then these 2 guys are now working on copper tools, so they only take 45 seconds to make more copper tools. And unfortunately these guys are still on stone, so until I have a few more, I'll babysit this a little bit. So he'll drop one in. Now we have 4, so I can refresh. Oop, wrong direction. Refresh that. And then he should, yep. It sets the copper tools, but then he actually has to go grab them from the banner because we still don't have the tool shop. And then we have 4 again, so we should be able to do this. And he'll grab copper tool. Maybe? Oh, he's going to bed. Crap, it's bedtime. Oh well. But yeah, then 4 guys with copper tools making copper tools can pretty quickly get the whole colony going. If there was anything that really mattered, I could remove the job block and rebuild it, but they'll run out of the stone tools in the next 5 days of working, and I usually just let that happen naturally, and they'll automatically pick up copper tools if there are enough. So we'll just let that happen. And yeah, let's see what the attack looks like tonight. I might, I know I said I was hopeful we wouldn't need to dig out any more rooms, but I think I'm going to dig out one more chunk by hand so we can get 8 more. 8 more peeps, and then I think that should be the last we need. I actually went one too far back there. Because to get to diggers, we need to get riders going, and we already have what we need, really. We just need a few leather and to build them, and then they're going to use parchment to make some scrolls, and that's really all we need, and lockboxes, I guess, which we can unlock anytime. We just need to get 100 colony points. So a few lockboxes to get more maximum points to 250, and then some riders. So with 8 more people, we'll have 13 unemployed, and I think we can get to diggers with that. Don't worry, we'll go check out what's happening with the zombies here in a second, once this is done. Can't believe I mined out 2 extra blocks that I didn't need to mine out. What a mess. Gosh. If this is your first Crydania series that you've ever watched, Krydax playing, you will know that stuff like this is the norm, not the exception. I'm being a much cleaner player in this playthrough than I am with pretty much any game ever. But it's just because I've done the start a bunch of times recently. So I've gotten pretty used to the pattern. So yeah, most of the colonists sleep, but the guards don't, and that's the important part, is the guards are, well, guarding, so they should be able to handle... They were fine last night, and I think all we've done since last night is add a few more colonists, so we should be good to go. Although he's kind of getting far. But I think we're okay. It's looking good. There's a nice stream of the low health zombies there. So you can see, like, even if we had bow guards, we would still want a couple slinger guards to deal with all the low health zombies. Until it's public or discovered kind of like what the ratios are of each type of health of zombie, it would be impossible to math it out for sure what's the most efficient setup. But I do think there's enough. Oh, and come to think of it, 75 damage still leaves a 25 health zombie, right? So like if a bow guard shoots a green zombie, then he essentially becomes a gray zombie, which a slinger can take care of every 3 seconds instead of every 5, like a bow guard does. And then the red ones are 250, and 75 times 3 is 225. So it actually turns out that at least in this early game stage, bow guards are often going to leave 25 health on a zombie. So I do think a few slingers are going to be good to have. Even though they do less DPS, they will end up getting more kills than a bow guard. And like I said earlier, the ammo is cheaper for a slinger. So if a slinger can get more effective, you know, you could call it EDPS, effective damage per second, than a bow guard at less cost, that seems like a good deal. But yeah, not too bad. I don't think we'll have to worry too much about threat until we do... Which is the next big one? It's the Bronze Age. The Bronze Age increases threat by 50, which, like we talked about, the curve of threat, you know, 50 more threat on top of this, it's a huge boost. And lockboxes, too. We're gonna have to build a few lockboxes, and that will... Each of those boost threat by 3. So, we'll be at quite a bit of threat once we hit the Bronze Age, and we will need a lot of bow guards to defend our colony. Okay, it looks like I think he just went to go grab the copper tools, and we can finally add the tool shop down here too, which is nice. Why don't I put that? Actually, we'll put it next to the grocery shop, and I'll put the merchant's hub like on top of a chest. I don't know. That's fine. Sell some copper ingots. We'll buy some more animal carcasses just so I don't forget later. It's annoying if you run out of them and forgot about it. You can automate animal carcasses later, which is nice. But for now, the only way to get them is to buy them. So we can do the copper lockbox research. And those are made in the anvil over here. And we'll get up to 5 of those made. We have tools as the higher priority. I think that's probably for the best until I see about 20 here, and then I'll make them equal priority. Because I don't really need 35 in the bank. And then the other science is Rider, which requires 3 copper tools and 3 leather, which we have, so we'll research that. And the Rider job block is made with planks, leather, and copper tools. Okay, we'll make 4 of those. Actually, you'll find out later I want 10 of these. Scrolls of Knowledge, which the Riders make, can be sold for 33 points. And so they become my new favorite thing to sell now that I can make them. So we'll want a lot of writer's desks. And you need a lot of writer's desks because you need a bunch of scrolls of knowledge to make the scroll shelf. And the scroll shelf is needed for the scribe's desk, who makes tablets of ancient wisdom, which is like the next thing that you need for a bunch of researches. So it all kind of builds on itself, and you need a bunch. Needless to say, you need a bunch. And did I ever add... I didn't ever add more wheat dudes. But now that I have copper tools, I think I can do this and the ratio is all still correct. Yeah, because now these are 12, so they're going to finish 25 a day, which is 75 wheat. So these three put together is 225 wheat a day. And pots of water, these are 12 seconds. A water filler is 6 seconds. So a water filler can handle 2. So I need a second water filler, water gatherer, to be able to supply all the water we need for that wheat porridge. And just plop him right next to the other guy. Okay. Then we can hire some more. We've got 12 unemployed still that I can designate somewhere. Oh, I'm gonna need 4 of them for sure for fletching. I usually start with 4. Anyway. Excuse me. Sir. Good sir, you're in the way. Oh, now there's 2 of you in the way. This is why you can't have unemployed slackers running around in your colony. They stand exactly where you want to build a job block. I'm very tempted to just remove you violently from the colony, but I won't. I'll wait. Okay, so here we go. We got the day and night guards again. I think they could probably remove day guards, but maybe it's just in there because it could be aesthetically pleasing, or I don't know. But we will eventually want 10. We'll prioritize the bow above the guard so that there's always a bow in the stockpile for me to grab if I need to shoot some zombies. And then the ammo being prioritized the highest for sure. We'll start it at 200. And we'll have to go up from there. And the ammo is 2 planks and 1 ingot for 10. Along with 30 seconds. Which, if you compare that to the slinger bullets, is like 12.5 seconds, and all you need is 1 stone rubble. So it's actually a price to pay to get the copper arrows, but like I said, I will show you the nerd sheet eventually, and it is worth it still to have copper arrows, but it's not free to have copper arrows. And they're making parchment now. That's needed for the Scrolls of Wisdom. That I usually like to have quite a lot of maximum at the same priority as leather, so that's good. And it's a lower priority to actually like skin the carcass because, well, there's really no need to do that unless you've run out. And that's how this will work. Because if you've run out of skin, they won't make either of these two. They'll do that one, that recipe. That's all good. Linen, I think, is fine. Actually, linen, we're going to need a second flax farmer once these get copper tools. So why don't I go add a flax farmer? And yes, JJ, that's exactly right. If you have a massive quantity of zombies that are in a really big maze, you might need a second... Oh no, I need to get rid of that block. You might need some daytime guards to start doing some shooting. But you would need a very large maze before that would be a thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. But maybe we'll get there someday. I don't know. So we should be good on linen now. We'll be getting quite a lot of linen, in fact. This will be almost 200 flax a day. Which, divided by 6, is... what? 33, roughly. 33 linen a day. And we got some writer's desks. Perfect. I'll start with 4 of those over here. And all they do right now, and they don't use normal tools. There's a special type of tools called eyeglasses, and those are later in the game, and they only boost by 20% faster. And you need glass to make those, so that's quite a bit later. But yeah, they use the parchment to make a scroll of knowledge. So off they go. And that will move me towards diggers, which will feel so good. The only other thing I need is 3 lockboxes, which we don't have any of yet, because we're still making copper tools. That's right. Oh yeah, and leather also becomes a bit of an annoyance, because a bow needs leather and flax. So oftentimes you're short on a couple things. But we can wait another day. We'll get plenty of leather. I could always buy a few. Help myself out a bit. Sell some linen. Buy a couple more. And then, hey, we can... Oh, dang it, we don't have a bow. I was excited to start shooting arrows at zombies instead of slinger bullets. But unfortunately, we don't have a bow to shoot the arrows with. I wonder if you can shoot... Okay, not quite straight up. But almost straight up. Can you hit yourself with ammunition? I think the answer is no. I expected to bonk myself on the head and die. Or at least take 50 damage. Ultimately disappointed. Game is unplayable. Literally unplayable. Where are all the zombies at, yo? Oh, there's a red one. See if we can get some long-range shots. Ah, come on. It's so hard to aim this thing. Oh, we got one hit. Eh. Eh. Yeah, well, they finished him off. I did the hard work, for sure. They always turn right when I'm, like, dialing in, finally. I feel like is when they decide to turn. Got him. How often am I going to stream this? That's a good question. I don't honestly know the answer to that question. I need to do some Pyanodons. I've been slacking on Pyanodons recently, so I'm going to be streaming quite a bit of that. Factorio. And I mean, part of it honestly has to do with the popularity. Like, as a streamer, I try to balance the, like, I stream what I want to stream with what do they want me to stream. I don't think it's all one or the other. I try to balance those two a little bit. So if people really just aren't watching something at all, I'll probably stop streaming it and putting it on YouTube. But at the same time, I really am enjoying this game, and even if people aren't watching it at all, I'm gonna put out a decent amount of it and stream a decent amount of it, because I'm really enjoying the game, and I'm really addicted to it right now, and I'm excited to finally get to the Bronze Age again, because I haven't gotten to the Bronze Age for a very long time. And I'm excited to build outposts and get, you know, all this technology later. Rope traps, hand cannons. There are gliders in this game to travel between your outposts. I would like to get to all of that on stream. So, that's the plan anyway. Uh-oh. Okay, he didn't get too far. But he got farther than I would have liked. Die. Ooh, same spot the other one died in. Plus, I'm really good at it. Well, I don't know about that. I'm good at the early game because I've done it 10 times in the last few weeks. Once we get a little further, I have a lot less knowledge. Also, man, my CPU just does not love all of the As much fun as it is, I need to turn down the ragdoll quantity. Because that takes a lot of computation power, I think. I've noticed my game slowing down from that before. I need a new CPU. It'll happen in the next few weeks. Okay. I really don't want to dig out any more by hand. Oh, torches really use the CPU? That's interesting. I wonder if there's a way to make that more efficient. Because I think I already have that setting on... Yeah, it's just high, not maximum. And there's not a lower setting. Okay, get some more light in here, and yeah, we'll get the digger job soon. I just need 3 lockboxes, 3 scrolls of knowledge, and then I gotta sell some crap, and we can complete that, and it will feel so good. And then you can get builders, which are the same but in reverse. You can build a big, like, wall or chunk. They can only build rectangularly, so, there's only so many options to build in rectangles, but it's still very helpful if you're trying to build a big wall or a floor of a building, things like that. Okay, and I'm just going to set these guys to 50... What? Okay. They were continuing the jobs they started last night, but they should have a 50-50 chance to choose tools or a lockbox at this point. So hopefully we get some lockboxes soon. The writers are all finishing. Well, they're not even halfway done, but they'll be done before the end of the day. It turns my PC into a SR71, what are they called? Blackbird. And then I can also get the statistics board, which is nice, with a scroll of knowledge unlocked. And those are helpful to tell, am I gaining this resource or am I losing this resource? The engineer is the beginning of the traps. You can make dropper traps with dropper trap ammo, which... Traps are cool because they... what's the best way to explain it? They're more of a burst damage, and, obviously as traps they have a very limited range. So it's a way to kind of keep an eye on your colony. Like, I can put traps above this, and, if I have a big line of traps, I can kind of measure almost how dangerous are the zombies getting by, like, how far did they get into the traps. And then you have a trap setter, or a trap fixer, who will kind of restock the trap ammunition every morning. So they need to be able to get to the traps, which is also an interesting kind of design challenge. There's a lot of cool stuff about this game. Really enjoy it. I also have an internal amount of 1 forester per 50 colonists. At least I've noticed that once I start getting into the 150 range, 2 foresters is not enough. So I will need a 3rd forester at some point. But everything else is going pretty strong. We got the flax fields getting collected here. An XF-84H. I've never even heard of that plane. And not that I know a ton about planes, but I probably know more than the average person, but I've still never heard of that one. Yeah, you can run Rust just fine, but if your room is too cold, you run this game. Yeah, I do notice my graphics card works pretty hard too. But yeah, today's not a wheat day, as you can tell. Tomorrow will be wheat day, and they'll all get gathered. Every day is flax day, which is nice. Okay, how are we doing? We got the scrolls of knowledge. I can get statistics board unlocked, because we got an extra one. And the cook. The cook is only useful for bread, which we don't really need yet. Bread isn't any better than wheat porridge. And honestly, Neither are berry meals. They're very close. So the berry or the bread meals made from berries aren't that much better either. So I'm not really sure. It is a little bit more efficient because the berry farmers use less space than the wheat farmers for the same amount of overall bread meals made compared to wheat porridge meals made. It's confusing. I have the numbers. We'll look at the nerd stats at some point. So I will go to the bread meals eventually, but we definitely don't need to like rush towards it or anything. And yeah, I need lockboxes. Have we made lockboxes yet? Look at that. Lockboxes. Now you can put these wherever, it doesn't really matter, they just add overall threat, but I like to put them, let's say tantalizingly close, like where the zombies can see them. I like to think the zombies are here for the wealth that our colony has, they're trying to steal it. So I like to taunt them with the wealth of my colony. I think that feels good. And that gets our maximum points to 250. It also boosted our threat by 9, which is kind of a lot at this point. 9 is nothing to sneeze at. And then I need to go sell a bunch of stuff so we can actually do the research. So I can just place a merchant's hub wherever. Let's sell our linen and sell our copper. And hopefully, why? I feel like clicking on that didn't work. But there we go, 250 points. And digger is complete. Yes, 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 yes. Beautiful. So the digger means we can make digging happen easily. I think it is time for the next dormitory layer. So if this is the floor layer of them, I'll leave 2 squares of separation. Wait. That's the floor, that's the ceiling, this is the 2 blocks, so these 2. Okay. Alright, so the digger, it can be a little finicky. It takes some practice to do what you're intending to do with the way that you designate. But like, this is where the bed will go, and then this is where the bed will go. Kind of get the basic shape first. And then they need a little bit of room to work, so I'm gonna cut out 1 more layer here. So then 4 more forwards will finish the first 6x6 block, and 10 more will be 2 blocks then. So I want to go 10 more forwards. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then that'll be the 10th one, but we don't mind that one because when you designate the digger area, it actually like goes into the block you click on, not in front of it. And then it'll go into this block, and then we can designate the construction jobs, which will be the diggers, and then they need a crate to drop stuff off into. And so they'll come in here, and they will do our jobs for us, and it feels so good. So they're gonna mine all this crap for me. I don't have to do it. They deposit the stone rubble into the stockpile. And I can just watch it happen, and it's so nice. So yeah, diggers make this game feel a lot better when you're trying to do stuff underground. And they're relatively quick. This is only 3 diggers, and you know, they're getting this job done a lot faster than I would have. And then when they're done, they kind of run a check mark to make sure they're done, and then they unemploy themselves, and their construction jobs disappear. So, and then you can remove the crates, and now we have a nice dormitory room with 16 more beds. And I do need... He literally just like plopped right into that bed after I placed it. Alright, place down some planks. We will need a torch back here. And then now I can hire more people. We do still have a max of 100, just a limit, but I can spend 100 colony points to get to 150 max. So that'll be nice. But I need to sell some more stuff, like some copper ingots and some scrolls of knowledge for 33 points each, and then we can do colony points, colonist capacity, check. So now we can get up to 112 with the amount of beds we have, which I will do. Beautiful. And at this point, we're going to need some bow guards. Now these three up here have a really long shooting time. And bow guards deal more DPS overall, so I'm gonna put these on top. And then I'm also going to replace the top layer here with bow guards. Ooh, that's interesting. They shoot above the wall. I actually kind of don't like that in a way. Probably fine for now, but we'll need to make the walls higher at some point, because I kind of want this group to focus on this mazed section. But yeah, you can see they're going to be doing a lot of overkill, but they're prioritizing the red health zombie back there. And they also have a little bit of prioritization on distance, so like, if a gray zombie is way closer than a high health zombie, they'll shoot the gray one and waste some damage. But overall, when you have a huge mass of zombies, the guards should be fairly efficient at choosing the right target to not waste the ammo. And so yeah, the overall DPS difference is pretty big. You know, 25 per 3 is what, 8.3 DPS, and a night guard is 75 every 5, which is 15. So almost twice as much damage per second. But because they fire slower, they can handle less gray zombies or low health zombies. Here we go. 1 a.m. Looks like this is about as bad as it's going to get tonight. There's 2 red ones in a row back here. Third one. But yeah, not too much of a problem. You know, it feels like we actually are, you know, because we switched to some bow guards, and those bow guards can shoot over this wall. They've gotten a lot of damage in over the course of the night, so we really didn't have any issues. But we will. I mean, ideally we won't, but we'll have to work a lot harder to not have issues when we do the Bronze Age research. That's when things get real, I feel like. And the amount of zombies and the total health of the zombies becomes quite large. We actually do need an earthenware. I remember that earlier, and then I forgot to ever set our potters to craft some earthenware. And since we finally seem to have plenty of colonists, I am going to add... where are they? Can't find it. Where are the miner jobs? There it is. I'm going to add another clay miner. Oh, and these guys should have a tool shed down here. I forgot about this. We'll want a little bit more copper arrow ammo. We'll go up to 6 Fletchers. I don't know if I really need 6 yet to maintain, but just to catch up. Statistics boards are nice. Looks like we already crafted some of those. So we can take a look at that. Oh yeah, there it is. So this is all kinds of data. So you can see your production of different resources over time, your stockpile amount. So you can see, like, is my stockpile going up or down or neither? Which is very helpful, especially for things like logs. So like if you look at your logs, you know, over the course of the last 24 days, it's like, okay, we're still going up, so I don't need another forester yet. And then this will eventually kind of start going down again, and you're like, oh, I need another forester. So statistics board is pretty handy. Kind of lost... Oh, the earthenware, that's right. So, I mean, we might as well have infinite earthenware queued up just at a low priority. And how many pots? We have 78. I kind of do want the sacred failsafe, so I'm gonna make this guy on a different group, and he'll just make earthenware only. So he'll make a couple, and then I'll switch him. Just gotta grab some tools first. And things are going pretty smooth right now. And we can finally dig out some more area, which is going to feel great. What's the best way to do this? So bear with me here. It seems weird, but if I don't do it this way, we can't actually mine the roof. Because the roof is up there, we would need the construction jobs to be, like, adjacent to it. So what you gotta end up doing is something like this, where we dig our area, the roof, but then it comes down to here. And that will mine a couple torches, I think, but that should work overall. And we'll put a crate back there. So we should be able to get that done. Where are they mining right now? Probably back in that corner that we can't see. Sometimes the first thing they mine is a part that you can't even see. Yeah, here it is. They're getting this corner all mined out. But yeah, then we don't even have to worry about that. It's super nice. Super duper nice. We could plop down some more riders. Get the full 8 going here. Oh, well, not quite yet. Once he's out of the way. And then, what do we need? I don't know, actually. I think we're kind of maintaining pretty good. We'll research the cook, just a scroll of knowledge. Earthenware takes forever and a half. It's 180 seconds, even with copper tools. But he should be done today, I think. It's still only 11 o'clock. And then, yeah, from here it's really focusing on scrolls of knowledge and defense for the impending 50 threat from Bronze Age. And you do unlock crossbows and eventually, you know, crossbow guards, which are awesome, but you can't get those immediately. So you have to be ready to deal with the 50 threat first. And then crossbow bolts are a lot more copper, 4 copper ingots for 10 and a plank. But they do 200 damage every 8 seconds, which is 25 DPS. And as you guys may know, yeah, they mined all of the torches. 25 is more than 15. In case you are wondering. Okay, now we can dig this area out. Even put construction jobs here, get that done. I guess I can just do this part manually. Perfect. So now we've got a nice 4 tall room. Feels a bit more spacious, and we'll probably get more riders going next, actually. Because you need so many scrolls of knowledge, it's crazy. So we'll just go straight to 16 of those. I'm gonna need more food. Yeah, you can see that farming starts to really take up a lot of space. I'm gonna go for 2 more wheat farmers. No, that was not 10 by 10. There we go. This, we need to clear some room. Is that 10? I don't know, that looks like 10. Find out. Ooh, that was nice. That was exactly 10. 3, 4, torch. 1, 2, 3, 4, torch. Alright, 2 more wheat farmers. That's another 100 wheat a day. That's another 33 meals a day. But I will need more water gatherers and primitive cooks. So now I have 6 wheat farmers. I believe that coincides almost perfectly with 4 fire pits. 6 wheat farmers is 300 a day, and I think these are about 75 wheat a day in terms of usage. So 75 times 4 is 300. So that's roughly correct. And that also works perfectly with 2 water gatherers for the primitive cooks. So that's all correct. Earthenware dude can go back to being a normal potter. I should have the earthenware now. Check. Sacred failsafe is now good to go. Or, well, good to be crafted. It'll get crafted in the job block. And we are out of leather still. Maybe I will make another tanner. Feels like we've been out of leather for a while. I thought 5 was sufficient. What? I am hitting all the wrong hotkeys here. I guess now that they're making parchment, do they all have copper tools at least? They do all have copper tools. That's good. Yeah, and you really just need leather for, like, the guards. So once you've caught up, it's fine. So I think 6 is good, but I should make sure we have enough animal carcasses. We've got 11. That's actually not enough. 41 should last a while. Alright, nighttime again. Should be pretty much the same as last night because I haven't done much to increase threat. You can fish. Fish is actually surprisingly efficient. Efficient. For more reasons than just the pun. Because the stove gets faster and faster to cook them. And so they take 32 seconds to catch. But then the stove ends up cooking them pretty fast, especially once you get like bronze tools. And so fishing as a source of food is not out of the question. And let's see, 1 fisherman would produce about 10 fish a day. That's like not terrible, but not great. Clear out a little bit more space here. I don't think I'm going to add fishermen, but we can at some point. For now, that's fine. Okay, wheat's doing fine. Oh, we need another grocery table, like, over in this region. Honestly, I should just have a couple. They don't cost me anything, and they just make my colonists more efficient. Though a wheat farmer is already kind of efficient enough, because it's as long as they plant their entire field in one day, it doesn't really matter if you make them more efficient than that. Because they can't do more than 1 full field a day, or every 2 days, no matter what. Okay, our pots finally got up to 100. That's good. Because of that, I will make the water gatherers go past 20. I'll probably keep it at 50. Eventually, you have so many people that are wanting to use pots that, like, you just need bigger numbers as a buffer. But 50 should last me a while as a buffer amount. And I think I am gonna increase this wall height so they're not sniping over it. Which I know is actually making my guards worse, but I want them to only be shooting guys that are in the base. That's kind of the point. So. You can see a bit better how far the enemies are actually progressing into the base proper. They just get melted at this corner. Ragdoll Central. They're also getting shot at that angle through the gate, like right here. Because the bow guards have a much longer range. It's 18 instead of 12. That's what's going on there. And then the crossbow guards are crazy. I think they have like 25 range or something. So you can really snipe enemies from almost anywhere with crossbow guards. Okay, I am going to need more colonists, of course, so let's get some mining going. Let's see, 1, 2, we'll get 2 more in this direction. Go to that tile. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then... No, that would be 11, so we need 1 more. So that's 12. 12 by 5. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah. And put the crate there. Don't mind the construction noises that will be next to your bedroom. It'll all be over soon. I actually don't have enough colonists. I'm going to remove a couple riders until we get more. And yeah, everything's looking pretty good. Okay, yeah, the sacred altars. So what those are for is you actually, I did unlock with the sacred failsafe, I unlocked a new job, which is the beekeeper. And they actually will collect, they just make candles directly. It's not like you have wax and then you need a candle maker. Personally, I think I would prefer it that way, that the beekeepers collect wax and then you have a candle maker job block. But the beekeepers make candles, which then the sacred or sanctifiers will essentially mix a wheat porridge and a candle or a bread meal and a candle to make a sacred version of that. And then when a colonist eats a sacred meal, you get 1 sacred point, which the fail-safe, that's like you spend all your sacred points to like click the, you know, nuclear defense button if things are really going south. So that's what the sacred failsafe is all about. The main reason I want one is because it also shows you the amount of health the zombies are going to attack you with, like the total health for the night. And I find that number to be very, very, very helpful in judging my defenses. So that's really the reason I want it. I don't plan to need the sacred defense, although no one ever plans to need it, so it's nice to have as a backup anyway. But it's really more for the just knowing the HP numbers. And I also need some gold ingots. So what we're going to do is sell, or I guess we already have max. So we'll just buy 20, how about 25 gold? Should be good. And then these guys, I like them to mix copper and gold in equal amounts and not just smelt only gold until they're done. Because gold takes longer anyway, so that actually ends up kind of meaning over the course of time, more smelters will smelt gold than copper, if you have both. But we only need 20 gold right now. We don't need... It's not sustainable. It gets sustainable after you create a mountain outpost. But we have not done that yet. So, we shall wait. Anyway, the diggers are probably done. That they are. We can get a few more beds. plopped down. And some planks to go, structural support, and look good. There we go. That's 16 more colonists. I'll just click the button, hire them all, recruit to fill all beds. Gets us down to not that many meals left, but that's fine. So now we can definitely put those 2 riders back to work. Oh, apparently we've never had 8 in a row. There we go. Okay, and then arrows, we'll go up to 500. We're going to keep creeping that number up, you know, every day or two until we're up to like 1,000 or 2,000, because copper arrows are going to be our main ammunition for quite a long time. It'll still be a while before we get crossbows. It'll be longer to have copper arrows than we had sling bullets, that's for sure. We also can look at this upgrade right here. The banner safe zone can be expanded for only 500 points. And so we could look at plopping down some more lock boxes and getting a bigger safe zone. Move the walls out a little bit. That gives me more room to do farming. That's an option. And I'm actually seeing a shortage of copper right now. So just, my gut says we should finish out. Dude, get out of the way. Please. I beg of you. I beg of you. I'll jump on your head until you leave. Thank you. Okay. Was that so hard? Anyway, I know that we need more furnaces, and we definitely don't have enough. So 12 furnaces should be the amount of furnaces for 4 copper miners, and I believe we only have 3 copper miners. Correct. So yeah. And we are almost at an hour here, so we'll add another copper miner, but then I think we will call it an episode. I have to move this table to the side a little bit. Oh, by the way, I don't know if they mine the block they're on top of, so that's why sometimes it looks a little weird. Like, what is he even mining? He's not looking at anything. They mine the block they're on top of. So that'll be another copper miner, so that's 4 copper miners, which is the right amount to mix with 12 furnaces. And I think adding a couple more woodcutters maybe wasn't quite necessary yet for firewood, because you do need a lot of firewood. But I think it's 2 to 9, 2 woodcutters to 9 furnaces, if I remember that number. 2 woodcutters is going to make 6 firewood every 10 seconds. Copper ingot wise, we need 3 to use 1 firewood, so we would need 18 to use 2 firewood. So it's 1 to 9, sorry, not 2 to 9. 1 woodcutter to 9 furnaces for firewood cutting. So we have 12 furnaces now, so we only need really 1 dedicated woodcutter to make firewood. Anyway, I do think we'll call it an episode there. So for those of you on YouTube, as always, let me know what you guys are thinking. The colony is shaping up nicely. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching.